Hello, grade 12. Our lesson about resolution of the force. What is the resolution of the force? The process of splitting up the given force into a number of components without changing its effect on the body. Okay, a force is generally resolved along two mutually perpendicular directions. Okay, the steps to determine the component of a vector. Okay, number one, construct a rough sketch. Okay, no need scale of the vector in the indicated direction. Then label its magnitude and the angle that make with the horizontal. Draw a rectangle above the vector such that the vector is the diagonal of the rectangle, beginning at the tail of the vector. Okay, at the tail of the vector. Sketch the vector vertical and horizontal lines. Then sketch horizontal and vertical lines at the head of the vector. The sketched line will meet to form a rectangle. Number three, draw the component of the vector. The components are the sides of the rectangle. The tail of each component begins at the tail of the vector and stretches along the axis to the nearest corner of the rectangle. Be sure to place arrowhead on this component to indicate their direction: up, down, right, left. Okay, label the components of the vector with symbols to indicate which component represent which side. Okay. Number five, to determine the length of the side opposite to the indicated angle, use the sine function. Substitute the magnitude of the vector for the length of the hypotenuse. Use some algebra to solve the equation for the length of the side opposite the indicated angle. Repeat the above step by using cosine function to determine the length of the adjacent side. Okay, to indicate the angle. As shown in figure, the component, okay, the force R, okay, vector, will draw rectangle. Okay, will draw two components from the tail. Okay, this component, then complete our rectangle and let our force is diagonal of this rectangle. Okay, the two components as shown, okay, along x-axis, the two components along x-axis and y-axis, okay, equal. If we use sine component, okay, we will get the opposite side or the component along y-axis. Okay, sine theta equal opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, sine theta equal opposite the component we need, okay, over hypotenuse. So the component of r we need equal r sine theta. Okay, the component of r along y-axis equal r sine theta. And the component along x-axis, we will use cosine theta. Cosine theta equal adjacent over hypotenuse. So the adjacent equal hypotenuse times cosine theta. So the component of r along x-axis is r cosine theta. Okay. For example, as shown in figure, the upward and rightward force of the chain is equivalent to the upward force and rightward force by two chains. This force equivalent to these two forces. Okay, as shown in figure, the force upward, the upward and rightward force equivalent to upward force and rightward force. Okay, how to determine the component of a force? Okay, as we explained before, the force okay, has two components. Incline has two components, okay, vertical component and horizontal component. No, vertical component force or F vertical equal the magnitude of the force 60 times sine the angle with the horizontal. Okay, so F vertical equals 60 times sine 40. So F vertical equals 38.6 Newton. Okay, the unit of the force is Newton. Okay. Horizontal force, okay, as we explained before, equal 60 cosine 40 equal 45.9. Another example, this force, its magnitude 400 Newton and make 60 degree with horizontal. Okay, we can draw the two components as shown, Fx or horizontal force component and vertical component. The equivalent to these forces, these two components equivalent to the force F equal 400 Newton. Okay, Fy or F vertical equal 400, okay, sine theta vertically, the hypotenuse times sine theta, okay, equals 346, and F horizontal equal the hypotenuse times cosine 60, okay, equal 400 times cosine 60 equal 200 Newton. Okay, which components equivalent to this force? Okay, this force downward, leftward. Okay, so it's equivalent to forces are down and left component. Down and left component. The first choice, left and up, not true. Number B, right and down, not true. Right and up, not true. Left and down was the solution, number D. Okay, another example. Consider the tow truck as the right if the tensional force in the cable is 1000 Newton and if the cable make a 60 degree with the horizontal. What is the vertical component of force that lifts the car off the ground? Okay, we need vertical component only. So F vertical equal the value of the force times sine 60 vertical component. This is the vertical component, okay, equal hypotenuse times sine theta. So F vertical equal 866 Newton. Thank you, grade 12.